Doctor Alert, the worst poison, destroying your nerves and causing neuropathy. A common and deeply unsettling experience for many involves persistent tingling in the feet during the quiet hours of the night, or a puzzling numbness that spreads through the hands without any obvious cause. Some individuals endure a relentless burning, stabbing, or electric pain that medical professionals often struggle to diagnose or adequately explain. This array of symptoms, though varied in its presentation, often points to an underlying issue affecting the delicate network of the body's nervous system. It is a condition that can be profoundly frustrating and debilitating, leaving those who experience it searching for answers and relief. The discomfort is not merely a fleeting sensation. It can significantly impact daily life, sleep, and overall well-being, diminishing one's sense of comfort and stability. What if there was a subtle, pervasive culprit, a poison that many people are unknowingly exposed to on a daily basis, silently and gradually damaging their nerves? This isn't about simply managing the symptoms of pain once they manifest. Instead, this discussion focuses on understanding and halting nerve damage at its root, ideally before it progresses to a point where it becomes irreversible. The goal is to provide insights that could potentially preserve one's nervous system and overall quality of life, offering a chance to intervene while genuine impact can still be made. The conventional wisdom often attributes such nerve issues to aging, genetic predispositions, or the inevitable march of time, suggesting that they are simply something one must learn to endure. However, in a substantial number of cases, these assumptions are far from the complete truth, and a deeper understanding reveals pathways to proactive intervention. The frustration stemming from nerve issues is often compounded by the narrative people are given about their failing nerves. The idea that these problems are an inescapable consequence of getting older, an unavoidable part of one's genetic lottery, or simply something to be lived with, can be incredibly disempowering. Yet for many, grappling with these perplexing symptoms, these widely accepted explanations do not accurately reflect the underlying causes. There is often a more direct, controllable factor at play, one that, when identified and addressed, can significantly alter the trajectory of nerve health. The widespread misunderstanding perpetuates a cycle where individuals accept their fate rather than seeking out the true origins of their discomfort and potential solutions. Consider the experience of a man in his late 60s who, despite being recently retired and maintaining an active lifestyle, found himself tormented by burning sensations in his feet at night. During the day, his toes felt consistently numb, and without warning, sharp electric pains would shoot through his legs. These symptoms were initially dismissed as the probable effects of aging, perhaps a minor circulation issue, or simply one of those things that happen as years accumulate. However, a closer examination often reveals a different story, a consistent daily exposure to something seemingly innocuous that was, in fact, gradually undermining his nerve health. Upon identifying and removing this subtle threat, the nerve damage did not miraculously disappear overnight, but its progression decisively halted, bringing about a profound and positive shift in his life. This fundamental change underscores the critical need to identify the insidious poison that so many individuals inadvertently introduce into their systems daily. To truly grasp the nature of this pervasive threat, it's essential to understand the fundamental biology of nerves themselves. Nerves are not merely passive electrical wires. They are incredibly intricate, living tissues, delicate and highly specialized. Their optimal functioning is entirely dependent on a steady supply of oxygen, a rich spectrum of nutrients, and a meticulously stable internal chemical environment. Unlike more resilient tissues such as skin or muscle, nerves possess a remarkably slow capacity for self-repair. This inherent characteristic means that any damage inflicted upon them tends to accumulate quietly, almost imperceptibly, over extended periods. Long before the telltale symptoms of pain, tingling, or numbness even begin to manifest, the nerves may already be undergoing a sustained assault, with their structural integrity and functional capacity slowly eroding in the background. This silent, cumulative damage is precisely why understanding the subtle factors that harm nerves is so critical, as intervention often needs to occur well before overt symptoms demand attention. The disturbing truth about the most destructive poison affecting nerves, particularly as individuals age, is that it isn't some rare, dramatic industrial chemical or exotic toxin. It's not even alcohol by itself, despite its well-known negative health impacts. The true culprit is far more ubiquitous, woven into the very fabric of daily life. And disturbingly, it's something many people are actually encouraged to consume regularly, believing it to be harmless or even beneficial. This insidious agent operates subtly but persistently, inflicting damage over years, and its widespread presence makes it a particularly challenging threat to identify and counteract effectively. Its commonality is precisely what makes it so dangerous, as its effects are often overlooked or attributed to other factors until nerve damage becomes significantly advanced. The primary and most potent poison relentlessly destroying nerves is chronic blood sugar toxicity. This concept is absolutely crucial to comprehend. One does not need a formal diagnosis of diabetes for elevated blood sugar to inflict severe and lasting damage upon nerve tissue. The real danger lies in repeated unchecked spikes in blood sugar levels, a phenomenon experienced by millions of individuals daily, often completely unaware of the harm being done. Each time blood sugar concentrations soar too high, excess sugar molecules bind to delicate nerve fibers and the tiny, fragile blood vessels responsible for nourishing them. This biochemical binding triggers a cascade of detrimental processes, including systemic inflammation, heightened oxidative stress, and direct damage to the protective myelin sheath that insulates nerve cells, essential for efficient signal transmission. Over an extended period, this relentless assault diminishes the nerve's ability to accurately and efficiently transmit signals. This is the point at which the initial subtle symptoms typically emerge, a faint tingling sensation, which gradually progresses to numbness, then evolves into a distinct burning discomfort, escalating further into sharp, intractable pain, and ultimately culminating in a debilitating loss of balance and coordination. A significant misconception in discussions around health is the idea that neuropathy suddenly appears without warning. This notion is fundamentally incorrect. Neuropathy is not an abrupt onset condition. Rather, it develops silently and progressively, often over many years, while the underlying poison continues its destructive work in the background, eroding nerve health before any noticeable signs emerge. This silent progression underscores the importance of proactive measures and early detection, even in the absence of obvious symptoms. Consider this crucial question. Have you ever received a medical assessment indicating that your blood sugar levels are borderline diabetic, pre-diabetic, or simply a little high, but not too bad? These seemingly innocuous labels often mark the very beginning of insidious nerve damage. Contemporary research unequivocally demonstrates that prediabetes, a condition frequently underdiagnosed and underestimated, can cause nerve damage almost as often and as severely as full-blown diabetes. The alarming reality is that a vast majority of individuals living with prediabetes are entirely unaware of their condition, allowing the silent damage to continue unchecked. This lack of awareness means that precious time for early intervention is often lost, leading to more advanced and challenging nerve issues down the line. It highlights a critical gap in public health understanding and preventative care. It's common for individuals to pause at this point in the conversation and assert, "But I maintain a healthy diet." This sentiment is understandable and often genuinely held, yet it highlights a significant part of the problem. The poison is not always overtly apparent. It skillfully disguises itself within foods and lifestyle habits that, on the surface, appear perfectly wholesome and beneficial. Many people conscientiously choose options they believe are good for them, following common dietary advice, without realizing that these very choices might be inadvertently contributing to chronic blood sugar issues and consequently nerve damage. The true challenge lies in discerning the hidden sugar dangers that lurk in seemingly innocuous items, requiring a deeper level of understanding beyond conventional dietary wisdom. Let us explore the precise, step-by-step mechanism through which this subtle poison operates within the body. The process begins when you consume foods that trigger a rapid and significant spike in blood sugar. In response, your pancreas releases insulin, a hormone tasked with shuttling this excess sugar from the bloodstream into your cells for energy. However, over time, due to repeated surges, your cells can become desensitized and resistant to insulin's effects. As a result, sugar lingers in the bloodstream for extended periods, failing to enter cells efficiently. This prolonged exposure subjects your nerves, particularly the lengthy fibers extending into your feet and hands, to dangerously high and toxic levels of sugar, repeatedly and cumulatively. Simultaneously, the minute, delicate blood vessels responsible for supplying these nerves with vital oxygen and nutrients also sustain damage. This impaired circulation leads to a diminished delivery of oxygen, effectively starving the nerves of what they need to thrive. Because this process unfolds so gradually and subtly over many years, individuals often fail to connect the dots between their dietary patterns and the developing nerve symptoms, frequently attributing their discomfort to sudden onset, when in reality, it has been an ongoing, slow-motion cascade of damage. Another pertinent question arises. If blood sugar toxicity is indeed so detrimental, why doesn't every individual experiencing elevated sugar levels develop neuropathy? The answer lies in a combination of factors: the frequency and duration of exposure to high blood sugar, as well as the inherent resilience of individual nerves. Some nerve tissues possess a greater capacity to withstand prolonged periods of abuse before succumbing to damage. This variability explains why symptoms might manifest differently or at different stages for various individuals. However, there is a critical threshold. Once nerve damage surpasses a certain point, the protective mechanisms begin to fail. Symptoms not only appear, but frequently accelerate in their severity and impact, making timely intervention all the more crucial. This emphasizes that while some may have more robust nervous systems, no one is immune to the long-term effects of unchecked blood sugar fluctuations. Now, let's turn our attention to the specific sources of this pervasive poison within our daily dietary landscape. The first significant contributor to rapid blood sugar spikes is liquid sugar. This category encompasses a wide array of beverages, including seemingly innocent fruit juices, popular sweetened coffee concoctions, various sports drinks, and even many so-called healthy smoothies. The critical issue with liquid sugar is its incredibly rapid assimilation into the bloodstream. Unlike whole foods, these liquids contain virtually no fiber, which would ordinarily slow down the absorption process. Consequently, the sugar hits the bloodstream with an explosive force, generating sharp, immediate spikes that directly inflict harm upon delicate nerve tissues. While older adults are often advised to consume juice for easy nutrition, the reality is that it often serves as one of the fastest and most efficient ways to expose nerves to toxic sugar levels. The second primary source of this nerve-damaging poison is refined carbohydrates, especially when consumed in isolation. Common examples include various forms of bread, many cereals, crackers, white rice, and pasta. When these items are eaten without the buffering presence of protein or healthy fats, their complex carbohydrate structures rapidly break down into simple sugars within the digestive system. These sugars are then quickly absorbed into the bloodstream, leading to significant and swift blood sugar elevations. The advice often given to older individuals to consume easy-to-digest foods can inadvertently steer them towards these refined carbohydrates. However, easy digestion frequently correlates with a rapid release of sugar, which then floods the bloodstream with nowhere to go except into nerve tissue, contributing directly to the cycle of damage and inflammation. The third significant contributor to chronic blood sugar toxicity is the habit of constant snacking, often referred to as grazing. When meals or snacks are consumed too frequently throughout the day, the body's insulin levels remain persistently elevated. This continuous presence of insulin means that the nerves never receive a crucial recovery window during which they could potentially repair minor damage or simply operate under more stable metabolic conditions. Without these periods of respite, nerves are subjected to an unrelenting state of sugar exposure and its associated inflammatory effects. This constant metabolic stress keeps them in a perpetual state of inflammation, hindering their ability to function optimally and accelerating the accumulation of damage. For nerve health, stability is key, and constant grazing undermines this critical balance. Beyond dietary factors, there's another piece of the puzzle that many people never encounter: the subtle yet significant impact of certain medications on nerve health. Some prescription drugs can quietly exacerbate nerve damage by interfering with the absorption of vital nutrients, particularly B vitamins. For instance, specific acid-blocking medications, various drugs used to manage diabetes, and certain cholesterol-lowering medications have been observed to deplete levels of vitamin B12 over prolonged use. This nutrient depletion is a serious concern because vitamin B12 plays an indispensable role in maintaining the myelin sheath, the protective coating that insulates nerve fibers and ensures efficient signal transmission. Without adequate B12, nerves become vulnerable, fragile, and prone to misfiring, leading to symptoms consistent with neuropathy. Consider the case of a woman who had endured numb feet for years, with her doctors attributing her symptoms primarily to the natural process of aging. However, upon testing her nutrient levels, a severe deficiency in vitamin B12 was discovered. The root cause was not her diet, which was relatively sound, but rather a medication she had been faithfully taking for an extended period. Once this deficiency was identified and corrected through appropriate supplementation and medical guidance, the progression of her nerve damage ceased. While the existing damage did not reverse, the critical halt in its worsening made a profound difference in her comfort and quality of life. This highlights how neuropathy is rarely attributable to a single factor. Instead, it typically arises from a complex interplay of chronic blood sugar toxicity, persistent inflammation, specific nutrient deficiencies, and often compromised circulation. However, blood sugar toxicity frequently acts as the powerful accelerant, functioning like gasoline poured onto an already smoldering fire, intensifying and speeding up the destructive process. This intricate relationship matters immensely because nerves possess a definite tipping point. Initial mild damage might only manifest as occasional tingling or slight numbness, but as the damage progresses and crosses this critical threshold, symptoms can escalate dramatically, leading to severe pain, debilitating balance problems, increased risk of falls, and a profound loss of personal independence. Once nerve cells completely die, their ability to regenerate is extremely limited, if not entirely impossible. This stark reality underscores why intervening early and stopping the underlying poison is of paramount importance. It is absolutely crucial to understand this point with utmost clarity. While neuropathy is not always a fully reversible condition, in a great many instances, its progression can be effectively halted and prevented from worsening. This alone represents a monumental achievement capable of preserving an individual's quality of life, mobility, and independence. If this information resonates and provides helpful insights, acknowledging its value helps to disseminate this vital knowledge to others who desperately need it. This brings us to the most pressing and fundamental question. If chronic blood sugar toxicity is indeed the primary poison contributing to nerve damage, what specific actions can be taken to neutralize its effects? What strategies can effectively protect nerves, and what simple, practical changes can individuals make to prevent nerve damage from progressing further? At this juncture, many people naturally anticipate complex answers, perhaps involving restrictive diets, exorbitantly priced treatments, or miraculous, unproven supplements. However, the truth, paradoxically, is far simpler than one might expect, which often leads to it being overlooked. The most fundamental and critical step in safeguarding your nerves is not about achieving perfect blood sugar readings or aggressively lowering levels to extreme points. Instead, it is about maintaining remarkable stability in blood sugar. Nerves do not demand absolute perfection. What they truly require is unwavering consistency. Every sharp and sudden spike in blood sugar is akin to inflicting a small, repeated chemical burn upon delicate nerve tissue. Therefore, reducing the frequency and intensity of these spikes translates directly to significantly less cumulative damage over time. This single principle, when consistently applied, possesses the profound capacity to slow down or even completely halt the progression of nerve damage. Here is a singularly important rule concerning neuropathy, one that many people have never encountered. Never consume carbohydrates in isolation. This applies universally, whether it's fruit, bread, crackers, or cereal. When carbohydrates are eaten on their own, they are rapidly digested and absorbed, causing blood sugar levels to spike sharply and immediately. This rapid surge triggers a swift and significant release of insulin, and crucially, it can temporarily shut down the delicate processes involved in nerve repair and maintenance. However, when carbohydrates are thoughtfully paired with a source of protein or healthy fat, the absorption rate dramatically slows. The protein and fat create a buffer, tempering the glycemic response and leading to a more gradual, controlled rise in blood sugar. This means that the very same food item that could potentially harm nerves when consumed alone becomes far safer and less damaging when integrated into a balanced meal. This simple yet powerful rule largely explains why some individuals might develop severe neuropathy while others, even with seemingly similar overall diets, do not. It emphasizes that it's not always merely what you eat, but profoundly how you eat it. Consider the example of an older gentleman who sought guidance because his legs felt consistently weak and unsteady by early afternoon, accompanied by burning feet at night and numb toes throughout the day. He genuinely believed he was eating a very clean diet. His morning routine included a substantial fruit smoothie packed with ingredients like banana, mango, fruit juice, and yogurt. What he didn't realize was that this liquid sugar concoction rapidly entered his bloodstream, causing a swift and significant blood sugar spike before his muscles and nerves had any protective elements in place. The recommendation was straightforward. Replace the smoothie with a breakfast consisting of eggs and vegetables, and strategically move any fruit consumption to a small portion eaten after a meal later in the day, rather than as a standalone snack. Within just a few weeks of implementing this change, his nerve pain notably eased, his balance showed clear improvement, and his energy levels remained more sustained throughout the day. There was no miraculous intervention, simply the chronic poisoning of his nerves was halted, allowing his body to stabilize and begin its natural healing processes. The second crucial step involves a complete elimination of liquid sugar from the diet. This means absolutely no fruit juice, no sweetened beverages of any kind, and no blended smoothies. Even 100% natural fruit. Juice, despite its wholesome perception, is essentially pure sugar delivered without the vital accompanying fiber found in whole fruit. Fiber plays an indispensable role in slowing down sugar absorption, thereby protecting nerves from rapid spikes. Without this natural buffer, sugar hits the system quickly and forcefully. Older individuals are often encouraged to drink juice because it's perceived as easy to consume, gentle on the digestive system, and a convenient source of nutrients. However, this advice is unfortunately misguided, as it is one of the quickest ways to worsen existing neuropathy or accelerate its onset. If one desires fruit, it should be consumed whole, in small, mindful portions, and critically, never on an empty stomach. Eating whole fruit after a meal is a far safer approach than consuming it as a standalone snack. This single dietary modification can profoundly reduce nerve irritation and contribute significantly to nerve health stability. The third essential step in safeguarding nerve health focuses on nutrient protection. Nerves are highly dependent on a specific array of nutrients to maintain their intricate structure and ensure optimal function. Chief among these is vitamin B12. This particular B vitamin is absolutely vital for the maintenance of myelin, the critical protective coating that encases nerve fibers. Myelin acts like insulation around an electrical wire, allowing nerve signals to transmit quickly and efficiently. Without sufficient levels of B12, this protective sheath deteriorates, leaving nerves exposed, fragile, and prone to misfiring, which manifests as various neuropathic symptoms. A significant number of older adults are deficient in B12 without even realizing it, particularly those who regularly take acid-blocking medications or certain other prescription drugs that interfere with its absorption. However, B12 is not the sole nutrient crucial for nerve health. Magnesium, for instance, plays a key role in supporting proper nerve signaling and can help alleviate common symptoms like cramping and twitching. Folate works synergistically with B12 to protect and support nerve tissue integrity. Additionally, alpha-lipoic acid, a powerful antioxidant, has shown promise in reducing oxidative stress within nerves and has been observed to improve neuropathy symptoms in some individuals. While these nutrients cannot reverse severe, long-standing nerve damage, they are instrumental in stabilizing existing nerve function and protecting the remaining healthy tissue from further deterioration. It is imperative to introduce an important caution regarding nutrient supplementation. The principle of more is better does not apply universally, and in some cases, it can be actively harmful. Specifically, certain B vitamins, notably vitamin B6, when taken in excessively high doses, can paradoxically worsen existing nerve damage or even induce neuropathy. This highlights the critical importance of personalized testing and professional medical guidance before initiating any new supplement regimen. Self-diagnosis and guessing can lead to adverse outcomes, especially for individuals already on medication or managing existing health conditions. Always consult with a qualified healthcare provider to determine appropriate dosages and ensure that any supplements you consider are safe and beneficial for your specific circumstances. The fourth vital step in mitigating nerve damage involves actively reducing chronic inflammation throughout the body. Inflammation, particularly when it becomes a persistent, low-grade systemic issue, plays a significant role in sensitizing nerves and amplifying pain signals. What might otherwise be a mild nerve irritation can be transformed into intense, debilitating burning or sharp, stabbing pain by the presence of chronic inflammation. The modern diet, unfortunately, is often a major contributor to this inflammatory state. Highly processed foods and over-reliance on refined seed oils, such as corn, soy, and sunflower oils, and excessive sugar intake all act as powerful fuel for inflammatory pathways within the body. Conversely, incorporating specific foods known for their anti-inflammatory properties can help to calm these pathways. Examples include fatty fish, rich in omega-3 fatty acids, high-quality extra virgin olive oil, a diverse array of colorful vegetables, and potent spices like turmeric. By actively reducing systemic inflammation through dietary and lifestyle changes, one can effectively quiet overactive and irritated nerves, leading to a significant reduction in discomfort and improved nerve function. The fifth crucial step for nerve protection is consistent movement, though not necessarily the strenuous, high-impact exercise that many people associate with fitness. What nerves primarily require is good circulation. Gentle, regular physical activity, particularly walking, significantly enhances blood flow throughout the body, including to the delicate nerve tissues. A simple habit, like taking a short walk after meals, can be particularly effective, as it helps to lower post-meal blood sugar spikes and ensures that nerves receive a steady supply of oxygen and nutrients. Even a modest 10-minute walk can make a discernible difference in promoting nerve health and overall circulation. When performed correctly and consistently, movement acts as a powerful form of medicine, supporting nerve vitality without placing undue stress on the body. At this juncture, it is important to address a common sentiment of discouragement. Many individuals feel disheartened when they learn that nerve damage, once established, is slow to heal, and in some cases, nerve cells may not regenerate at all. While it is true that nerves regenerate at an incredibly slow pace, if they do at all, the power of stopping the progression of damage is just as profound and impactful as complete reversal. Imagine a reduction in chronic pain leading to significantly better sleep quality. Envision improved balance, drastically reducing the risk of falls, and a renewed sense of confidence in one's movements. These are not minor changes, they are life-altering improvements that restore independence and enhance daily living. One of the most detrimental beliefs individuals can internalize is the notion that nothing can be done. This belief itself becomes a dangerous, self-fulfilling prophecy, often leading people to abandon proactive efforts, which then results in a rapid worsening of their condition because the underlying poison remains unaddressed. Consider the journey of an older woman in her early 70s who began using a cane due to her profound unsteadiness and constant fear of falling. She had been informed that her neuropathy was a permanent condition, something she would simply have to live with. However, through a systematic approach that involved stabilizing her blood sugar levels, identifying and correcting specific nutrient deficiencies, and completely eliminating liquid sugar from her diet, a remarkable transformation occurred. While her nerve pain did not vanish entirely, it reduced to a level where her fear of walking even short distances dissipated significantly. She regained a precious sense of confidence and autonomy. While a complete reversal of her condition was not achieved, the ability to walk without overwhelming fear and to move with greater ease was, for her, truly life-changing. This brings us to a critically important realization. Neuropathy is not solely about the sensation of pain. Its ramifications extend deeply into an individual's independence and overall quality of life. It encompasses the fundamental ability to feel the ground beneath one's feet with certainty, to react swiftly and accurately to environmental cues, and to place unwavering trust in the strength and stability of one's own legs. When neuropathy progresses unchecked and reaches an advanced stage, the risk of debilitating falls escalates dramatically. Falls, for older adults, represent one of the most significant threats to overall health, long-term independence, and ultimately, longevity. This emphasizes the profound importance of timely intervention. Early-stage nerve damage, characterized by tingling and mild numbness, responds significantly better to interventions than damage that has become deeply entrenched and severe. These initial symptoms are not merely minor discomforts. They are critical warning signs, clear signals from the body, indicating that fundamental changes are urgently needed. They are not a final verdict, but rather an invitation to take action. To conclude, here is a practical, actionable plan that can be implemented over the next 2 to 4 weeks, offering a tangible path toward better nerve health. Firstly, completely eliminate all forms of liquid sugar from your diet. This means no fruit juices, no sweetened beverages, and no smoothies. Secondly, adopt the rule of pairing all carbohydrates with a source of protein or healthy fat. Never consume carbohydrates by themselves. Thirdly, if you choose to eat fruit, do so only after a meal, in small controlled portions, and critically, never as a standalone snack on an empty stomach. Fourthly, make it a habit to walk for at least 10 minutes after eating whenever possible. This simple activity significantly helps to lower post-meal blood sugar and improves vital circulation to your nerve tissues. Fifthly, if you haven't recently had your vitamin B12 levels checked, make an appointment with your healthcare provider to request this important test. And finally, educate yourself about any medications you are taking that may potentially deplete essential nutrients. But remember, never alter your medication regimen on your own without direct guidance and approval from a medical professional. As you implement these changes, actively observe what happens within your body. Many individuals report noticing less burning sensation at night, improved sleep quality, and a steadier sense of balance within just a few weeks. Even seemingly small improvements are incredibly significant, as they powerfully indicate that the nerve damage is not yet irreversibly fixed, and positive change is still possible. Let this be stated with absolute clarity. Anyone who promises a miraculous, instantaneous cure for neuropathy is not being truthful or acting responsibly. However, equally incorrect is the assertion that absolutely nothing can be done. There exists a vast and potent space between these two extremes, and it is within this realistic territory that genuine, meaningful progress resides. Neuropathy is frequently the cumulative outcome of many years of quiet, insidious damage. It logically follows that significant improvement will also require time, patience, and consistent effort. However, the fundamental and always primary step is to identify and halt the underlying poison. Your nerves are an invaluable asset. They enable you to experience the world through touch, to move freely, to maintain balance, and crucially, to preserve your independence throughout life. Once they incur damage beyond a certain critical threshold, the prospects for full recovery become incredibly challenging. But if you seize the opportunity to intervene early by diligently removing the identified poison from your daily life, and by providing your body with the essential support it needs, you can very often halt the progression of nerve damage and safeguard what truly matters most: your quality of life, your mobility, your confidence in your own body, and your precious independence. Understanding these principles and taking proactive steps empowers you with far more control over your nerve health than you might currently realize.